2,000 years later, and as long as civilization's been going on since the last catastrophe, I would think almost everyone would have some type of seed in it.
But it has to be. It would have to be according to your father. Go to the book of Matthew, the 25th chapter and the 31st verse. So I can explain that. So I can explain. I see you Europeans because you.
Why doesn't it make sense? It never has made sense.
You know why it doesn't make sense? You know why it makes sense? Doesn't make sense? Because your spirit cannot deal with this book. But you can deal with a book from Harvard or Stanford or read a book about parapsychology or something like that, because that's where your spirit emanates from the left-hand side. This book,
Every time anything.
yeah, exactly. It's doom and gloom for you. It's paradise for us. It's a beautiful book for us. Now let me answer that question.
There's one comfort, and that is that God's going to come down and save you. Everything else is.
But he's coming to destroy you,
Right.
the Europeans,
Okay.
and the Chinese, the Africans.
Fine, he's going to destroy everybody but you, okay? That's what you're saying.
Exactly, according to the Bible.
Right.
So what should we do? Should we just
And just be the devil. Just enjoy yourself while you got this.
We're going to be.
How much money do you have in the bank? You got a lot of money in the bank. You got a Visa card? You do? You don't have. You better rob a bank or something. How much money you got in your Visa card?
Does it mean anything to me? I'm not one of these money-orientated, materialistic.
What do you consider fun? What do you consider having fun? What's fun to you?
Afternoon in the park, seeing the beautiful sky and seeing nature.
Okay, well do that for about the next few months or a year or whatever, because when that time comes, you ain't gonna see that no more. By the way, you know that you're gonna go in slavery? You know that all Europeans are going into slavery, along with the Chinese, the Japanese. Can I read that for him, brother? Go to the book. I'm going to read it out the Bible. We're reading it out the Bible. You should be writing these scriptures down. Revelation 13, 9, and 10.
If God so loved the world that he gave his only forgotten son. He says the world. The world.
If you read the Bible correctly, you find out that the world that he came for was Israel. Now, if you look up the word, wait a minute, if you look up the word world in a dictionary, a common dictionary, the Webster Dictionary, there's over 14 different definitions of the word world. World can pertain to the whole universe. World can well, the viewpoint is from the Greek translation, eon, which means society. The society that he came for, as you read the scriptures, were the Israelites. There's an insect world. There's a third world, all right? There's a world of the sea, all right? There's a space world, okay? There's a world of rock and roll. What world did he come for? He came for the world of Israel. Now, let's read about the Europeans going into slavery according to the Bible.
If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
And the Europeans, we're seeing them right now, they were the ones that led us into captivity. That's why we're in America to this very day.
He that killeth with a sword must be killed with a sword.
Now that's plain. There's only one interpretation to that, is how you read it. He that took a man and put him in slavery must go into slavery. All right?
Anybody.
But what did your forefathers do?
I don't even know.
Okay, well, maybe you should check your history, because what your forefathers did, that's what you're going to have to pay for.
Okay,
God
question.
isn't gonna hold
What are
me
you doing with
accountable
this
for
tape? Are you
something
like going
my
to put it on
forefathers did.
cable, or,
Yeah, we
simply to get your word out, to let people know?
Exactly. Cut it. Jews, or the ancient Jews.
I don't know. That's why I asked you that question.
How about the Egyptians? What color were they?
Your color.
My color or darker? Could they be darker too?
Your color and darker,
Okay,
maybe a little lighter, but
How about the Arabs? How about the Arabs? What color were
darker
they?
and darker.
Okay. How about the East Indian?
Your color and darker.
Okay. So based on that, you find out that the majority of this earth is what? Dark-colored people. Now, if you go to the Middle East, what type of climate is over there in the Middle East?
Very hot.
So what color? Common sense, all right? What color?
Dark.
Okay, now let's prove that. Give me the book of Jeremiah 14:2. Let's read that. We're going to prove to you that these Europeans that call themselves Jews are not the Jews at all. All right? They had a big thing on Ted Koppel about what they think about the Palestinians having part of the land and the West Bank, and what the Israelis thinks when neither these nations belong there. And they're going to be blasted to hell and back out of that land too. And we've been trying to get on Ted Koppel's show for I don't know how long. We spoke to, what's his name, on Channel 4, Phil Donahue. Gave him a letter. He wouldn't let us on. He wanted to let us on, but his producers said no. Why? Because the producers of that show are Jews. Now let's read the color, so-called Jews. Let's read the color of the real Jews. Read.
Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground.
So that proved that the Jews are dark-skinned people, okay?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish.
Which simply means the tribe of Judah is in mourning. They're in mourning to this very day. What is mourning? Living in ghettos, living in slums. The last high and the first five. The first five. You know, the injustice of Okay. Yeah. We're out here in the middle of Central Park, and let's walk closer to this. Now, it might be funny and strange to you that there's a pyramid that's in the middle of Central Park. Why is there a pyramid in the middle of Central Park? Well, we're going to find out. Let's read the captions on this pyramid and see what it says. But if I didn't tell you, you'd probably think you were in Egypt. This is known as the obelisk. It's originally from Egypt. And as we come closer to the pyramid, we're going to read the caption on the bottom and see if it actually was from Egypt or did someone from New York or America build this pyramid. Let's find out how old this pyramid is, or this obelisk is, and let's read about the origins of the obelisk. It first at Heliopolis, Egypt in 1600 BC. Now this is an old pyramid. It was removed to Alexandria in 12 BC by the Romans, presented by the Khedive of Egypt to the city of New York. It was erected here on February 22nd, 1881, through the generosity of William H. Vanderbilt, which was one of the chief Illuminati members and one of the rich families of the earth. Now, we're going to read something from this book, their symbols and their origins. Let's see what it says about the obelisk. First off, I want to get the picture right here on the book. And if you would notice, the Washington Monument, can we get a close-up of that? The Washington Monument. And over here we have the obelisk. It looks exactly like the one we're standing at. And over here we see a church steeple. Let's see what the origins of this represents. Let's read this caption here.
Now here are some more astonishing facts. Has the viewer ever wondered how the strange structure called the Washington Monument came into being? Well, in the myth of the Egyptian god Osiris, which derived out of the legends of Nimrod, Osiris was said to have been killed by a rival god and cut into 14 different pieces. After cutting the body of Osiris into 14 pieces, the rival god threw all of the parts of Osiris along the Nile. Isis, his wife, found all the pieces but one, his genital member. Now remember, Osiris was worshipped as the creator, the impregnating force of the universe. So the mother goddess Osiris molded with her hands an image of the dead god's phallus and set up one to be venerated as a monument to Osiris. Hence the origin of phallicism. So in the temple services of the pagans, a coffin with the image of Osiris's phallus in it became part of the worship of the sun god.
Now you see how satanic the origins of this obelisk is as we read on?
This same phallic image has been passed down through history to us today. Its name is the obelisk. The obelisk, the sacred phallic symbol of Osiris, Nimrod, is now standing in St. Peter's Square at the Vatican, with a cross erected on top of its pyramid. And it's also standing 555 feet in Washington, D.C. And this is the origin of the church steeple.
Right, so as we found out, if you go to Washington, D.C., it's known as a Washington Monument. What it is actually an obelisk from Egypt, all right? Now, as we look at this obelisk right here, we read the caption. Let's read something on the bottom here. It says here, the Horus strong Boo, beloved of Ra. Keep in mind the word Ra, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. User Met Ra, chosen of Ra. Ra, created by the gods, who founded the two lands, the son of Ra. Ramesses, beloved of Amun. Okay? And that, we're going to read something out of this book called Satan's Angels Exposed. Now let's see what that says about Ra. As we read before, all the time you see the word or the name Ra, let's see the origins of Ra. First, let me get it here. Okay, it says right here, it says, the worship of the sun, because the obelisk goes back to sun worship, which goes back to Ra, which goes back to Nimrod and Satan. The worship of the sun is not new. Over 3,000 years ago, the Egyptians worshipped the sun, while the Babylonians called the sun Uta. The Egyptians called it Ra. Now let's look at this caption again. Why would it say Ra on the translation of the hieroglyphics? Because that's what they used to worship. Why did a so-called European by the name of Vanderbilt bring it to New York? Because they follow these same pagan gods that the ancient Egyptians followed. I'm going to read on. The center of worship, now listen to this good. The center of worship was at Heliopolis. Now let's see the caption right here. It says the obelisk was erected first at Heliopolis. All right? This was the center for satanic worship. Now I'm going to read on. It says here, not only did the Egyptians worship the sun, as we see now in America, you got Europeans worshiping the sun and the sun god Ra. All right? They also worship the moon, the bull, the crocodile, the hawk, the cow, the baboon, the goat, and many other animals. The goat and the bull were especially sacred to the Egyptians as representing sexual creative power. The priests were kept busy selling their charms, amulets, and this is what they're doing in these festivals. Selling their charms, amulets, mumbling incarnations, performing magical rites, promising eternal life to those who would purchase their prayers over charms. And that's what it says, that's what we read about that this great obelisk from Egypt, which is a worship of sun god Ra. Okay. In the Wall Street downtown area of Manhattan. And we're at the Supreme Courthouse. Now we're going to look at this statement that's written on the wall, the facade of the building. And what does it say here? It says, the true administration of justice is the firmest pillar of good government. What does that mean? If true justice and true judgment is brought forth, that's a stronghold of a good government. But as you look around the way America and the justice system is, what does that tell you about this government? That this has to be one of the most wickedest governments that ever was established in the history of the world. I'm going to read about them in the Bible. Let's read the first scripture. This is found in the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter, and we're going to read to the first and the second verse.
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
And what does that mean? The judges, the attorney, the police force. When they go to sleep at night, they think of all the wickedness, how they can trap our people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, West Indian, Puerto Ricans, trap them up and bring them to this court system and fine them, take their money, throw them in jail, and so forth. So they think about all the wickedness they're going to set up for the next day. Read on.
When the morning is light, they practice it.
When they get up early in the morning, bright and early in the morning, they practice it. The cops go out and they see a so-called Negro. He don't like the way the so-called Negro looks. He beats him over the head, says that he thought he had a gun, arrests him, brings him down to the attorney. The attorney plays a game on you, prosecuting the attorney. Then the judge is sitting there, nothing but a devil, and he renders his decision, which is usually guilty. Read on.
Because it is in the power of their hand.
Because they have the power to do this. Who's going to stop them from doing this? They're the devil. They're in their rulership. And they're going to do it until they're brought down.